Welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to revisit a video that I recently did about wellness fraudsters. I wanted to kind of get more specific with that topic. I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday. It's not a podcast that I ever listened to. I had been Googling about like Lyme disease and exosomes and that kind of thing, and this podcast episode came up. And so I thought, I'll listen to it and see, if there's any information that I can gain from it. And it was basically like a wellness podcast. I don't know who the host is. I don't know who the guest is. But apparently the guest, and I'm not going to name any names because I felt that, it was questionable, their qualifications, and maybe even the things that they were saying may not have been entirely true. But there was this woman, and she had Lyme disease, and she went to this place, this clinic, I guess, in it's out here in Arizona. I'm not going to get specific about the location either. And she talks about how sick she was, and she was disabled, and she went to this clinic, and they fixed her right up. And so she became like a wellness coach or something, and I believe she works for this clinic now. And so I kind of again started to see that same narrative that I had talked about in my wellness fraudsters video of a lot of these wellness gurus or these chiropractors or whatever, Instagram like wellness influencers. They always have this common story of, I was really, really sick. I was disabled. I couldn't do anything. I was incapacitated, and I did XYZ and I got better. And now I want you to get better too. And so this story, I've seen it many times. I've seen it over and over again with lots of these different wellness gurus. And I wanted to talk specifically about that, about identifying these individuals that make these claims either on behalf of themselves or on behalf of, a business or a supplement company, because it always seems to be connected to something where they can gain financially, that they can gain financially from. So I wanted to talk about the I cured myself guru. That's what I'm calling them, basically. So what does this look like? What is the I cured myself guru? Basically, they talk about how they were sick, or them and their family. It's usually something like that, like me and my wife, me and my kids. We were really sick with something, some kind of Lyme disease, metal toxicity, some kind of obscure type of illness. I know Lyme disease isn't obscure, but it's often used in that way. That's one thing that I've seen. And so they make these claims that they were very, very sick and they achieved wellness through something. So through a diet, through supplementation, or through a specific doctor or clinic somewhere that they went that helped them. They always have a difficult to treat condition. Lyme disease would be one of those. Lyme disease is like the default condition for like difficult to treat, complicated, complex type of diagnosis. But there's also other stuff like metal toxicity. There's autism has also been used at times. Mold toxicity, I think, is another one. So they had some kind of complicated, somewhat obscure, difficult to treat thing. And they were very, very, very sick. So they always describe themselves as being very ill. They were able to get better through, XYZ. And now it's become their mission to help others. So in the case of this podcast, the woman went on to become a wellness coach. And she works with this clinic. But in other cases, there was one guy that I talked about in my Wellness Fraudsters video who went on to start his own supplement company. So now he's, selling supplements to other people who want to also achieve, optimal wellness. So it's always like this game changer type of treatment. So one gentleman that I spoke of in my past video, he developed like a diet protocol, and like I think it's he's written books, but he also has like a whole diet protocol that he will sell you for like thousands of dollars, and he's got like a website and all of that where you can go and buy this treatment. But it's like a game changer. They had this one thing that was the game changer for this woman on this podcast. It was going to this clinic in Arizona. That was their game changer. So you're going to see that a lot in their narrative of, wellness. I did stem cells and that was the game changer. I tried such and such supplement and that was the game changer. So, what other identifying features do these fraudsters have? They're always selling something. So, like I said, a supplement, a diet, a book, or they're sort of shilling for a clinic or for another doctor because somehow they will get some kind of kickback from that. Coaching. Again, why do you need a coach for your illness? That's what a doctor should be. They are never specific. So here's the one thing that I noticed with this podcast. This was one of the newer, I had noticed this with some of these other individuals, but as she was talking, because I listened, this podcast was about an hour long. I got to 40 minutes. They did not mention exosomes in those 40 minutes. I think they were also going to talk about ketamine, how ketamine can help with certain chronic conditions. They mentioned it, but didn't go into it. They don't even tell you what ketamine is or how it's utilized for chronic medical conditions. I think they said it was like antibacterial or something, which ketamine is not an antibiotic. But they never give specific details or answers to important questions. And if they do, they will charge you for it. So, for example, like this guy was asking her about testing. Like, how do you test for Lyme? And, what kinds of tests should doctors, should you ask your doctor for? And she was being very vague. And she was just like, well, there are all these inflammatory markers. And, your doctor will know which ones. And, there's this urine test. And I tested positive for all of these things on this urine test. So it's they never really specifically answer questions. The one guy that sells the supplements, he has a whole like Instagram account. He's got like thousands of followers and he posts like every day. He's like very Mr. Inspirational. And you'll see people in the comment section asking like, which supplement should I take for this? Or what supplement would be good for this ailment or whatever? And he never answers. He'll never answer the question because he's not a doctor. He's not anything. He doesn't have any qualifications to be answering those questions. His posts, like I said, are very inspirational and very vague. I do get like a bit of an anti-vaxxer, COVID denier vibe, but he's very, very vague. He's never specific in his posts. It's always like, trust your intuition. Don't go with the flock. Weird, these weird sort of obscure, non-specific things. So they will never be very, very specific about certain things. The other individual that I said sells, he sells his protocol through his website and it can cost thousands of dollars. So he's obviously not going to answer your questions unless you pay to have them answered. All of these people have questionable or non-existent qualifications. The gentleman who's a chiropractor that's selling a protocol, his license has been revoked, but he continues to call himself doctor. I'm not sure how that works. He also has a crime on his record. He's on probation for like 16 years, and I talked about that in my Wellness Fraudsters video. The other gentleman with the supplement company, no medical background. He's not a naturopath. He's not any, I don't know what he is. He's just like, an influencer on Instagram. And this lady, she does say that she has no medical background. So she openly says that at the beginning of the podcast. She says, I have no medical background. I'm just a patient. I'm a former patient, and now I'm a coach, and I do coaching to help, patients, I guess, achieve their wellness goals or whatever. And I believe she does coaching in partnership with this clinic. Um, they also have connections to very shady people. So, like I said, this woman has this partnership with this clinic, and I checked out the clinic online. I went to go look at their reviews. They apparently treat Lyme disease and cancer, which are two very, very, very different conditions. And the one thing that I noticed, they had a lot of really good reviews, but there were they either had very, very good reviews or like 1 star horrible reviews. And the one thing that I was taking from these 1 star reviews, most of them were from cancer patients. And what it appeared to be was that these people were terminal, and they knew that they were terminal, and they turned to this clinic because this clinic somehow thought that they could cure them, or made claims that they could cure them. And in almost all of these cases, the patient ended up dying. And, one of their family members left a review and said, look, you guys just milked my family member for all they were, all they had left. And they still ended up passing away. And they would give this very generic apology. This person was like family to us. It's the same cut and paste, like very long, but very generic apology. So that to me is a questionable business practice. If you know that this person is terminal and their doctors have done everything they can to help them, what makes you think that you're going to be able to save them? And also to the other two individuals, the guy selling supplements and the chiropractor with the revoked license, I found them both through each other's Instagrams. So they know each other, and I think they're friends or acquaintances. So they're probably doing business together. So these people are always going to have very questionable connections with other, very questionable individuals. One of the things that is basically a dead giveaway, and this is kind of just a given, is that all of these people have big pseudoscience energy. So they're very woo-woo. They're very, like the universe, energy, vibes. They have all of that going for them, and they're big on that. They're big on a lot of alternative treatments, coffee enemas, ozone, peroxide infusions, or what, I don't know, and a lot of other potentially dangerous treatments. And they seem to really, really shun Western medicine. Now, I understand there are a lot of us that have not been helped by Western medicine, and I get that. But these people are literally like, don't trust Western medicine. They're the worst. They're not going to help you. They're just going to make you even sicker. So they denounce conventional medicine. You'll hear big pharma. Big pharma is always the bad guy. Big pharma this, big pharma that. And again, a lot of anti-vaxxer, COVID skeptic, just, a lot of heavy, heavy vibes, in that department. And like I said, people have their opinions about those types of things, but I'm not just saying one thing or the other. They typically have all of these traits, and you'll see that in their, like on their Instagram or in their videos that they make for YouTube or in the products that they sell. You're going to see a lot of these characteristics, not just one, because there are people that are, are anti-vax, but they're not really anti-Western medicine, or, and some of them don't even really care for alternative remedies. But these people will have a lot of these. You'll be able to check off a lot of these on the list, because they typically have just heavy pseudoscience beliefs. The last thing that I've noticed in some of these people is that they live a very comfortable, often expensive lifestyle. So they tend to live in very upscale, exclusive areas. I know the supplement guy, he's always posting like from his home. Very expensive house on the beach. He's out here in Southern California, so I know what area he lives in, and I know how expensive it is. And the other gentleman, the one that's on probation for 16 years, takes regular trips to Cancun and other tropical locations, and they're not shy about it. They post this. They openly post it on their Instagram accounts. They like to live well. and they're not shy about it. And to me, it's just so funny that they have so many followers and so many believers in what they're selling, but they can clearly see, what they're doing with the money on their, on their Instagram account. And I have no issue, it's their money. People can spend their money however they please. I have no, that's not my beef. My issue is you're making money off of sick, desperate people, or people that think that you know what you're talking about, which these people don't know what they're talking about. You're making this money, and you're just so that you could have a very comfortable, luxurious lifestyle. And to me, it's very clear. And to most of us, it's probably pretty clear that this is what they're doing, with your money. But for whatever reason, some people just believe. I don't know. It's just very bizarre to me. But I have noticed that trend with these people is that I mean that's why they have these businesses, because they want to make a lot of money, a lot of profit with minimal effort, because they're really not, they really don't have a real job. Being a coach, a wellness coach, is not a job. That's not a real thing. You're just telling people what they need to do, I guess. Selling supplements or having somebody manufacture supplements for you that you're probably just investing in, that's not a real job. These people don't have actual real jobs. They're just looking to kind of grift in a way. So that's what I've got, what I've noticed specifically. If you have any more, leave them in the comments. If you have seen any type of, these wellness fraudsters, and if you've been able to identify any kind of specific traits that these people have, leave them down in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.